Hello, I am the Convolutional Neural Gamer, and this is Spire vs Scourge, attempt number 2. So, I'm going in for the same settings here. You can see I've still got a Swarmer difficulty 9 AI, Fallen Spire 7, Scourge 10, with this being obviously the operative part. Still using an X map, going to keep along that track, but I'm going to try to attack this friendly place a little bit earlier this time. Obviously, new map. I'm going to adjust my strategy a little bit accordingly, but basically same. Keep myself honest. I did do some re-rolls to get a decent seed with some good spawns around, and I think I have something that I can use. So what we've got here is over here, Devastator Frigate is Concussion, very powerful. My base fleet has Siege Frigates, also pretty powerful, as well as being the, this having a decent selection over here. And over here we have some more Siege Frigates, which will also help. We've also got quite a few splash things going on, the MRLSs, torpedoes, and I think we've got another splash over here, Molotovs. So we've got the potential to tech into that line a little bit too, which should work out. And there are some raiders over in this research station, which will help me out when I get to it too, because I do want something to be able to speed boost with. That is a very powerful bonus at the current time. I keep expecting it to be nerfed, but it never actually has been, so I guess I'll just keep using it. So my objective here is basically going to be to build up enough power to clear a Mark 7 Swarmer planet within the first hour. That's a big ask, because these are, even though their drones are always spawn at Mark 1 even on Mark 7 planets, these things are no joke. They've got a lot of stuff. So I'm going to have to really ramp up quickly to be able to pull that one off. Oh, and I forgot one last thing to mention. One of the fancy new DLC turrets spawned, and this was one of the clinches for why I like this start. Seeker turret. 1000 DPS turret, which, decent, happy, but for every 1 TX of the target, so that's bigger targets, do 1 times extra damage to the target. So big targets take a lot of damage. Yes, thank you. That'll work for me. So when the AI starts throwing tons of big stuff at me, those things are going to do an amazing job at clearing them out. And as if that wasn't enough, it's a concussion turret too, which I was already planning to check. So that is going to be a major target. Order of operations is slightly less obvious, so I definitely need to move here first because the Scourge is very quick to send out. There are builders, so they will expand to these other nodes extremely quickly if I don't cut them off immediately at Ursh. So that's just got to be my first move. That's mandatory. Do I want turrets or raiders first? Probably the raiders. So I think I'm going to go here, grab this one, grab the Devastators, then move down, grab the raiders so that I can move a bit faster, and that will help me clear planets faster. And then I can move back here and grab this global command augmenter. I won't hack it initially, I'll hack it down the line. And finally, I can grab this transport flagship over here. That will also give me a good path of logistics station here in order to get a relic over there at some point, which will be nice. Because, relics get the speed boost, and I want them to be around for as little time as possible. Technologist Tech Bolt, not particularly interesting. This doesn't have anything super interesting, but might be useful. I'm going to need to really use the tools that are available to me. Now, unfortunately, fleet capacity extenders don't work on frigates these days, so I'm not going to be able to boost up the Siege Frigate or Devastator line, so I'm going to have to think about which one is my best bet for that, but that's a little bit later on, and I'll also unlock a little bit more of the galaxy as I expand. In terms of my starting picks, as I've mentioned, I've gone with this one. I think it's the Door Kicker fleet, if I remember right. Pulse tanks are okay, but I'm not really planning on teching them. Same with these guys. I might end up teching the inhibiting Tesla corvettes since I've got a lot of splash available, and that should, if I go tech splash, that should make short work of a lot of the swarmer drones, which would actually help quite a lot in this particular campaign. So that does kind of fit fairly well. I went with Rejuvenator as usual, but I changed up my battle station pick to the Shield Wall battle station, as I think this might be a bit of a better pick for beachheading and such early on. So, finally, after all that yammering, it's time to actually get started. I am going to get 1 tier on that. I'm going to hope that I can get away with only 1 upgrade to my homeworld. That first upgrade is just so valuable, but I'd like to save the science to spend on other things if I can. Now, concussion is obviously something I want to get quite a bit. Do I want to get the splash now? Well, I am going to be dealing with the Swarmer AI immediately, so I guess maybe getting a couple of ranks in splash right off the bat would make sense. So the final question is, what do I spend this last 5k science on? Do I just knock out concussion, another rank? Do I want any of the other ones? Fusion? While fusion would be nice, I don't think it's nice enough to warrant a purchase. Vanguards aren't fusion, I don't believe. I'm surprised auto bombs aren't splash. Yeah, melee, okay, that makes sense, I guess. Vanguard's ambush, yeah, no, that's not useful to me. And Tritium Sniper is general. So yeah, I think this is going to be my setup here. So I will go with the extra level of concussion to start with, and that will be the starting build here. Okay. Alright, so nothing particularly complicated going on here. I'm just going to, do the thing, set up my ships, build up, and then move on to actually taking these planets, and actually doing the hack. So we'll just wait a second for the construction to finish, and here we go. So yeah, this is just a pretty standard Swarmer AI battle. I've just got to make sure to assassinate these guard posts as quickly as possible without, getting overwhelmed. I also have to deal with the Hunter fleet, which inevitably comes in on this. Got a whole bunch of Spider Guardians by the looks of things. So that's, going to cause me a bit of nonsense, along with the actual Warden fleet itself. But the siege frigates are pretty good, so they're managing to cull them down pretty well. I'm kind of focusing on dealing with the Warden and the Hunter fleet, but, the guard posts do need to go down eventually, so it's just a bit of a balance of how much I want to get rid of the swarmers and stop my units from getting distracted, and how much I want to damage things. Build defenses on the homeworld, it's always necessary. I've gone in for a close defense this time around from the start, because I don't expect too many attacks to come through that way, because I'm going to have this nice and fortified. That's sort of my intention, and I also learnt last game that quite a few attacks will come from the other wormholes of the homeworld. And there we go, planet down. I have now taken Ursh, and that will begin fortification. In the meantime, I'm going to have to start worrying about... Well, I've got to stick around here because I don't want any Scourge to slip through while I'm building up, but once they're built up, and I'm trying to position the turrets mainly to focus on Bly and a little bit of, if I can have them in range of stuff coming from Lipton and Typhoon, that's good. But, just the focus is what it is. Slight rearranging, using to bring in the better ships that were in that fleet that I just captured, and then I'll use that fleet for defense while my main fleet can go on to actually do the attacking. You don't want too many low mark ships in your fleet because of the way counterattacks scale, because having the AI gains budget based on the number of ships you lose, on the well, not number, but on the power of the ships you lose at Mark 1. So losing a few Mark 1 ships, losing 5 Mark 1 ships is the same as losing 5 Mark 7 ships. So if you want to manage the counterattacks, you have to use higher Mark ships. Okay, and on to the last planet. Here we go. Getting ready to actually take the hack, get the raiders, and that will make things a lot easier for me. It's pretty similar, but you can see that without the Hunter, without the Warden, and with all the additional firepower I've grabbed, they're going down much faster. The AoE does work against the Swarmer, but also means that I'm bad at focusing my firepower onto the one big thing I really care about. So there's a bit of give and take on that one. I'm not sure how I feel about using these sorts of AoE ships against Swarmer at this stage. I really need some bombards or something so that I can just click on the thing I want to have die and have it, actually die. And finally, we can actually do the hack. Easy enough. Alright, so that's that set of targets dealt with. I need to consider what my next priorities are. So, it's not completely obvious. I could go for the Seeker turrets. That is a pretty big deal and might be my best move. Obviously, the Spire City is a pretty tempting option as well, but that's going to take, that has its own problems associated. I feel like the GCA might be my best option at this particular moment until I can get the Spire. I think it'll make it easier to get the Spire City going if I don't have to worry about other planets because I've got a Global Command Augmenter to play with. So that's, I think, going to be my next move. I should be able to clear out these planets comparatively quickly now because Raiders really help. They're really good. Raiders are good. Okay, some more planet clearing going on now. Goes pretty quickly. Now I have the Raiders, so I'm able to zip around the planet. And it's also a pretty low mark, easy to kill planet. This is taken. I can then grab that and start building up the turrets around the place. I make sure to plop down these Seeker turrets everywhere. You can see its range covers all 4 of the wormholes on Ursh here, so that's going to be helpful. That means that I don't need to worry so much about anything coming from one of the other wormholes other than the Bly one, which is obviously the main threat, given that that's where the Scourge will come from, unless something is gone horribly wrong, at which point I've lost anyway. I also need to defend the GCA here, which is what all of these turrets are for, so I work on that. And then back to some planning, just thinking about what I need. I'm considering whether I need to take any of the other planets, or if I just want to take the over something over there. The one with the other transport there. And yeah, I'm worried about the Scourge already, thinking about whether I should be, what I can do basically to get enough power to deal with them. Going for the Siege Frigates. Siege Frigates are great. Tesla Torpedo Frigates, I'm less sold on. They're okay, but they're nice enough. I'll take them, I'm not quite sure what the torpedo launcher is. I never really paid attention to that, so that's something to worry about later. It's obviously 2 DPS at infinite range isn't very useful, so I'm assuming there's something more to it than that. Now going into this planet, it's a slightly tougher nut to crack than the other one. It's a higher Mark world. I believe it's Mark 3, isn't it? So yeah. Oh no, is it Mark 2? No, 3. Yeah. It's Mark 3. And that means that I've just got to, it's just taking a while to clear. I kind of wish I was able to do this a bit faster, but the minutes do tick away, unfortunately. I don't really have much choice on this one, and I do lose a lot of ships. I get a little baffled by why I was losing so many ships. Eventually I realize it's because they actually have inhibiting Tesla Corvettes of their own, so they were massively slowing my reload speed, and now you can see I'm kiting them to make sure they don't do that anymore, and I can actually kill them rather than taking like 3 times the time to reload. Once I'm doing that, this goes a bit more smoothly, but something to pay attention to in your games if you're trying to play, you know, deal with the planet well. You gotta micro against those inhibiting units. Anything with a weapon jammer is quite dangerous because it can really slow your ability to just DPS the AI down. And yeah, I go for an economic command station here because I figure not much is going to make it through Magrath in order to get onto this planet, and a little bit of eco, whilst not critical, is certainly, you know, I'll take it. And then I need to decide which one of these slots I'm going to switch over for the new siege frigates, I believe they were, that I picked. That takes me a little while to make that decision, but in the end I go with the Molotovs because the Molotovs just don't keep up with the DPS of the other units in this set. I need to think about where I go next. Do I want the Spire City now, or do I want to boost up? I could get the inhibiting Tesla corvettes fleet multiplied. I could grab something from here. What do I got out here? Research labs all the way over there. That's not great. Raid tech labs. Lots of splash. There's just so much splash on this map. It's kind of crazy. Super terminal I won't have time to do anything with in anywhere near the near future. Obviously getting these fleet multipliers would be useful. I should be able to get highest mark on that shortly, and that will help. Do I want a Spire ship to help me with breaching this planet? I don't know how much strength. So my strength has reached, what, 50? Showing the strength of the flagship. What's the strength of the fleet, you derps? Max strength 54. That's probably enough to deal with this, and I wouldn't mind grabbing the concussion corvettes and starting to block off that. So an option would just be to do that. This is crap because this will die there. Like, if I take this planet, that dies. There's just no way. Do I want to just do a 30-minute move in on Blay? If I could seriously cut the Scourge off there, it would be pretty insane. This could turn on... I could turn it into a non-Fallen Spire Scourge 10 run if I could pull that one off, which would be kind of crazy if I did Diff 9 Scourge 10 with no Fallen Spire, but that's probably not viable. Oh, what is my move here? Grand Salvage. That's also one I'm not... Made up of numerous gravity generator. Oh, that would be nice. Slowing them down. Less than 18 GX. Only 0.5? I wonder if it gets better with markups. That could be a pretty amazing thing, but I won't be able to get that anytime soon, so no need to worry about it right now. Getting distracted from the task at hand. The best move... I think my best move might be to test the waters on Blee. See exactly how much Scourge is going to blow me apart when I pop my head in there. Because, like, that alone, that level of defense alone, I could handle with what I have. It's just that it won't be that alone, it'll be that plus, you know, everything else in the universe. It'll be just, yeah, everything that the AI can throw at me with the Scourge and the Praetorian Guard and the Wardens and everything. Which is probably going to make it non-viable, but it's worth it, worth an attempt, I think, and probably this will lead to a save scum. How much have we actually got here? That's actually less bad than I expected it to be. If I can kill the Dire Widow, basically, I will be in a good place. So we're going to stick away from everything for a little while we try to clear out some of this hunter fleet and all that, and then make a move. We are going to need to turn off attack move for now. I just want you guys to follow my instructions and not get dragged away. Ah, crap. Okay, we've got the Widow Golem, so that's the only target that matters now. We have to kill the Widow Golem, or it will drag my guys into horrible places and everything will go to shit. Kill the Widow Golem. Kill it. Oh, it's so close. Just make it die. God damn it. That was just... Ugh. Okay, everyone back. This is going well. This is going really well. This...
Science teams are now idle.
I still have my fleet. Lydurf's held off that little attack. Speaking of Lydurf holding off the attack, are they ready? Cool. Yeah, they can go there. What got freed? This one over here got freed. That one didn't get freed. Excellent. That's amazing. We do have a dire Tesla Guardian, but that's not half as dangerous as the Widow back there. So I am happy to deal with that. I am a little bit trapped because of the directions that are available to me, but that's okay. Do I still have the... Yeah, I've got everything. Okay, okay. How far does this Sabo shoot? Okay, I might be able to swing around here, which would be okay, an acceptable sort of path, and that would give me the opportunity to spread out the AI a little bit more as I work with it. Let's see if we can get this Tesla. There is going to be a counterattack. It's kind of inevitable with this, but that's okay. Speaking of actually things, I can actually upgrade that, which is going to make my fleet even stronger. I've lost some siege frigates and some... Oh no, wait, I haven't lost them. Those are just the ones that have been culled, per se. Alright, welcome to Warp Speed. We are going to zip through this at a very accelerated rate because, well, there's a lot of the same thing happening quite a few times, and yes, that does mean save scums. So, this planet, whilst I see potential to take it, is very, very hard to take. The AI has a lot of things going for it in the defense. Obviously, the counterattacks are a massive problem. You can see here I underestimate the counterattack and let it get through Ursh, at which point I am actually able to defend the homeworld, but Ursh in the meantime has ended up, you know, completely lost, and the Scourge can get through. So if I lose Ursh, I lose. So I need to be careful about the counterattacks, make sure I survive it. So I can retry that, and I do. I managed to just upgrade my command station, put down a few more turrets, and make sure I'm a bit more responsive when the AI comes in, and that is enough to actually win on defense against that counterattack there. But yeah, and then I can move in and continue my culling process. So what's going on? The AI is obviously pouring its warden waves at me. It's pouring all of its the guard posts at me. I need to kill the guard posts. It's pouring the swarmer units at me from the guard posts, and it's finally, of course, sending the Scourge at an ever increasing rate. So these combined forces cause a huge problem, and plus, of course, the counterattacks that are coming in. And you can see here how brutal those can be. In this case, they do actually manage to snipe my home command station, so I have to take it again and try to make sure I don't let the counterattacks get quite so large, because now the Scourge can come in and augment them, and that makes them able to be handled. Because the Scourge are quite nasty. So I ponder how to deal with this, and eventually there are several occasions where I'm like clicking on a target and I'm going, why aren't my guys shooting it? And eventually I realize it's because the AI has a ton of inhibiting Tesla corvettes, just like I have with weapon jammers. So those are making my units take ages to fire, and therefore I'm not actually DPSing the AI's units down. So I have to be really careful not to let any of the inhibiting Tesla Corvettes get near me. And that's ignoring the suppressor frigates that it spawns, which are even worse because I can't outrange them. So they will also weapon jam me. So AI has a lot of tools that basically reduce the DPS I can do over time, which yeah. And then occasionally the Scourge does this thing where they charge in with a large horde of units and try to actually take out Ursh. So I'm having to deal with that as well whilst doing everything else. And I am keeping the Scourge number somewhat down, but you can see I accidentally let the counterattacks get really big on occasions. I try to pick off guard posts, and I'm doing a pretty good job. But the last thing they have going for it is that guard post. Not only is it a Sabot guard post, but it's surrounded by parasitic turrets. So if I lose anything there, I will get zombified. Plus those turrets just deal a lot of damage because there's like 20 Mark 7 turrets, so of course it deals a lot of damage. So that's making things a nightmare too. And finally, of course, the AI is just sending fairly significant waves at me quite frequently because it is just a difficulty 9 AI at 70 AI progress. So that's also fun. I'm trying my best here to come up with a way. I still feel like there must be a way to do this, but you can see that even though I'm killing them, there just aren't any less AI on these planets. And now you're starting to see the Policians too. You can see when I'm on the AI planet, you can see explosions popping up on my fleet constantly. Little sort of explosive rounds, not the lightning ones, the sort of mortar-y sort of ones. Those ones are the Policians firing at me. And the Policians, as if everything else wasn't bad enough, make things even tougher. Because Policians have about 15,000 range, and the further away they are, the more damage they do in an area of effect. So a really distant Polician will do an enormous amount of damage. And while I'm kiting, they're always really distant Policians. But, because their range isn't infinite, I can't actually pull the AI horde away far enough to separate out the Policians and actually kill them. So I end up trying to snipe them whenever I can, but there's only so much I can do. I can't just draw the Policians completely out of position. So I start trying some beachhead tactics here, but out of sheer desperation, because I'm realizing that there's just no way I can keep this up. I am not killing them as fast as they are building up. I'm losing this war of attrition as such. So I thought, hey, maybe a military command station would manage to do it. Also, counterattacks can't get worse if you kill their command station, even though they can still fire. So that's something I start doing at around this stage, is picking off the command station so that they can't actually build up counterattacks, even though it does create the risk that if they send a reconquest wave against one of these planets, then they will be able to, against one of these, against Bly. If they reconquer Bly, they will rebuild all of the guard posts on the entire planet instantly and spawn a whole bunch of guardians and everything else. So it would be an absolute disaster. So I basically need to stop that 100% of the time, or I just lose. So yet another way I can just lose. So yeah, it becomes a very delicate balance. Eventually I basically just decide that I just need to have a little bit of a break from this because I'm getting too locked into one set of tactics. I think about what I need to do to be able to win this fast enough to prevent the Scourge from getting to this point where they're just overwhelming. And you will see pre-me for that in a moment. Okay, there was a little gap for me there, but I have thought about my plan and taken a step back. So we're back before I began the assault, and I think from everything I learnt trying it there, I should be able to do it better this time. The way I'm going to achieve this. I'm hoping maybe I can make some use of the beam cannons on this shield wall battle station here, but also I just want to... I think I'm going to try to bait a lot more of these things onto my planet so that I can get rid of all the threat that's going, all the like guards that are going on here, and then kill those on Ursh, and then I will actually deal, like then I will actually just have to deal with the Scourge, and that will mean that I will be getting through Bly faster, which will mean that the Scourge will not have built up to be quite as strong, and hopefully I can actually keep up and take over the place. And then yeah, a little extra firepower from some beam cannons should help quite a bit. If that doesn't work, then I think I'm probably reaching the point where I might have to call that a non-viable plan and go back to the original sort of Spire campaign and hit a little bit later than this. Bring in some Spire stuff would certainly help with the assault, but because it can't kite, it's sort of got limited effectiveness when it's outnumbered. Spire is very much about just brute forcing the enemy by completely outclassing them, which, you know, they are very good at reaching the point of doing that. This time around, I am going to wait until I get concussion before I go in, which I kind of screwed up last time, and then make sure I'm fully built up with concussion, and then move in to start attacking. And hopefully I will be able to bait them all out and get things moving nice and quickly. The trick is speed. That's what matters here. Okay, concussion 4. We will unload and we will let those few extra siege frigates and devastators build up so that I have a good 67 out of 67 in this fleet, and there it is. And let's give Bly another go. Load off is fine. They're getting absolutely wrecked. We'll send the rest of those guys in, and this fleet is going to move in, and we are just going to poke everything immediately. Poke the bear! Poke the bear! Wahahaha! Okay, load up, please. Those you can, and we'll move out. There we go. Okay, that should have attracted a whole lot of threat. Let's see if it's dumb enough to come through the wormhole at me. Soon I'll be able to get that 1000 science to be able to mark up this command station too, which should help. I want to do everything I can to bait them, so I'm going to move those guys back. And here's hoping that that's enough to get them to come at me. If not, I'll have to bait just a little bit more. Ah, there they are. Excellent. Okay, let's get these guys out, start murdering them, and this hopefully will be enough to make things work. I don't want this command station dying, so I'm going to put you just there. That command station is kind of critical to this whole operation. Making sure that I have just that little bit of extra advantage when I'm fighting the AI troops. Okay. Phase 1 is done. These guys can do their whole rebuilding. Let's get through the wormhole and move on. So that's these three. The actual Dyers haven't decided to come through, which isn't ideal. I'd kind of prefer that they would actually just come and attack me, but that's the nature of it. I could also avoid the counterattacks by sniping this much earlier, but it does put me in a position where I have to be able to kill any reclamation waves that do come in, so I don't want to do that quite immediately. Okay, let's say hi here. There we go. Hi over here. Have you... Come on, guys. I know you're in there. There we go. And they are already coming and saying hi. Let's load up, because otherwise they're all going to get grabbed by the dire Widow Guardian and run away. Excellent. Okay, you guys can also run away and make Ursh look nice and vulnerable, bait them in, and then kill them. And oh yes, it looks like they are doing exactly what I want them to, nice and quickly. Okay, you're going to unload, because there's no need not to, and then you can just move in. Yep. And you guys also move in, and hell, I'll bring you guys in too. And once again, you can do that. And yeah, you guys do that, and then you do not do that. There we go. That's what I'm after. And this will let me eliminate these guys at just really, really fast compared to what I could otherwise have done. Excellent, that's working better than I'd hoped. We've culled out a lot of the mkVII stuff from that planet, and we're only a few minutes in. And back to warp speed. Sorry, we've got another one here. Yeah, there's some potential in this technique. I am able to clear out a lot of the AI's guard posts much more quickly than I could before, but you'll notice there are some non-trivial issues going on, like the inhibiting Tesla frigates, which is one of the ones I want to get rid of the most, tend to hang around, so that's a bit of a pain. So I end up playing around with exactly how I want to do this, how to kill off the guard posts, how to deal with the Policians, and get this all working as quickly as possible with what I have. This still proves to be quite challenging. You can see that I'm trying to work out exactly how much stuff it's got here and how to tempt them into coming in and attacking me so that I can get rid of them, because I'm not culling them as fast as I would like to. Eventually I start, do a reload, try some other things, and this will be the same repeated pattern as you saw before. I have to do a lot of experimentation. Here I try baiting more in by deleting some of my turrets. Unfortunately, only half of them come through before the AI backs off, so didn't quite get fooled by that one, only half fooled. They apparently some of them died shortly after entering the wormhole, and the others were like, nope. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Your comrades fly through the wormhole and immediately get shot to pieces, and you're like, yeah, maybe that wasn't the best move. Not that the AI would view it like that. And yeah, the annoying assaults I have to keep dealing with on Lurdorf and all that, but I obviously really don't want to pull back my main fleet, ever under any circumstances, so that's a challenge I'm having to deal with whilst doing this. So I'm getting more and more guard posts, and it's actually looking reasonably good, but the Scourge are building up again, and I still haven't been able to get that Saboa with all the parasites in it, and I've also, in my attempts to get it, started feeding the AI quite a few of my own bombards, so that's a little bit unfortunate. So, things are starting to turn around. Like, things were looking good at first, but not so good now, and I get a counterattack, and it's yuck. And there it is. They've popped the command station, and the warden's pouring through, and ugh. Because, yeah, I just need to get onto that planet with a military station and all that stuff. If I can get, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to just build a beachhead on that planet and see how I go. I think my mistake was trying to attack that parasite turret location too many times and ending up just giving them a bunch of really good ships. That may need to wait. That may mean that this attempt is going to be a failure just from that alone. So let's see this beachhead idea in action. Okay, so culling off the stuff, moving in, and I am able to distract the Scourge and everyone else to the other side and try to start building a beachhead. But there is a lot of stuff on this planet and it just doesn't work. Too many siege frigates. So I'm going to have to readjust, and I decide to do so whole hog. Let's take a look at this attempt. So I'm going to start by grabbing every single guard posts, guards, in order to bring them back and fight them all on Ursh. I also retreat my fleet temporarily, mark up the military command station, even before getting concussion, and build up my defenses ready for the assault. They come in, they are quite strong, but I am just about able to hold them off here, as even with a few Scourge reinforcements coming in. Once that's done, I've managed to clear out that planet way before I have on any of the others, cleared out of its guards. You'll see there are a few grenade and inhibiting Teslas, but most of them are gone. So at this point I can start really sniping down all of the guard posts that are giving me trouble. The ones under force fields are still going to be a bit of a problem, but I am able to deal with them. And I just avoid the Dire Guardians in this case. I, take some losses to them and all that, but it's just not worth it. Sniping the command station as soon as the counterattack pops up to prevent that from building up to unmanageable levels. I now have to worry about the AI trying to reclaim the planet, but I feel like that's worth it in this situation. I then lose my transport. That's obviously not ideal, but I am able to send it away to get repairs whilst the frigates hang around and defend. Well, I say defend, attack. They're I think of it almost like defense because I'm trying to cull down their numbers, but yes, it is. Attack. They're staying to be able to gradually whittle down all of the hordes of units, and I'm actually able to use my fleet, the rest of my fleet, to help with the defenses of my planets in the meantime. Then, yeah, I gradually work these guys down. I try to get some shots off on the shield guard post up here, but I have trouble actually getting them to cooperate and do that. So I just end up drawing the Scourge and Wardens way over the other side of the planet before bringing everything in for the final part of the plan. And that is, of course, building the military command station and a beachhead on this planet. Get that damage multiplier and some turrets down. So that's what I'm doing. I'll use the shield battle station in order to defend the command station whilst building up a bunch of turrets and taking advantage of that damage bonus on everything I have. So that you can see it's a pretty vicious battle. They do have a lot of stuff and they're quite enthusiastically trying to kill me, but I throw everything I can at it and I am just about able to keep the force fields up so that the AI has to pull back. I'm also able to do funny little things like moving the battle station away to let it regen its force field while the command station is under assault on the main force field. Then I can bring it back right now. That basically just leaves the Sabo guard post with its horde of turrets. I still have some difficulty getting rid of that. I plonked down some long-range turrets in order to try to start sniping it down, and also move my fleet into position to hit it from outside the range of the majority of those turrets. But while all this is happening, Magrath is coming under fairly significant assault, and that gets augmented by a reclamation wave now, which you'll see in a moment will actually decide to turn around and hit my home world. So I am forced to withdraw and go attack that force. Oh god, AI. Never easy, is it? Let's get you marked up. Build myself a new force field, and then we'll get over here. Yeah, the Scourge was just waiting for that opportunity. You don't need to be over there. This is definitely a place you don't need to be. Oh, yes, yes, this is what I like to see. Okay. Heading right back in for Magrath in a minute, but... I can kill that easily enough. Finally kill all this. Yes! Okay. Well, I have the planet. That was one of the most exhausting pieces of save scum-filled insanity I have ever gone through in AI War 2. But the Blight is under my control, and I have a Mark II command station in place. So, I am actually going to be able to meaningfully start to cut the Scourge off from these sectors of the galaxy. If I do this, then I will be able to actually eliminate the Scourge, and even just holding Bly will prevent them from upgrading and hybridizing into their more powerful forms quite extensively. So this is a huge thing to be able to actually have taken this planet at this stage of the game, and I genuinely didn't really expect to be able to do it. But I got kind of obsessed, as became apparent in this video, and apparently with just the right play, it was just barely possible to take this planet. So yeah, I am going to have to think about exactly how I move on from here, but this probably isn't going to be a Fallen Spire campaign anymore, because if I can beat Scourge 10 with a difficulty 9 Swarmer AI, that would be so nuts that I just really want to do it. So that's going to be the new goal here. Wish me luck. I will see you next time. I've been the Convolutional Neural Gamer. Bye.